Again, that 4.3 quake was centered near Fontana. It hit at 9:32 this morning, about a half hour after the quake in Rialto, which I believe was a 3.0.
Yes, that's right. So some people reported feeling the shake along the coast in Torrance as well. I know we had some coworkers here who said their family members felt it there. Here, Amy, I didn't feel it in Studio City.
I didn't feel
a little further away. But seismologist Lucy Jones, she says this quake is actually part of a small swarm in that area. Take a listen to what she just had to say.
It's in what we call the Fontana trend, which is a lineation of seismicity that we see, repeated earthquakes over a long period of time. We don't have a mapped fault with it because it's buried underneath the sediments of the San Bernardino Valley. But we think there are several different little northeast striking faults sitting out there in front of the San Gabriel Mountains, part of us moving into the San Gabriels and pushing them up. So it's a common feature. We've had them before. It was preceded by a few foreshocks. There was a magnitude 3 that happened at 8:34 this morning, and then the magnitude 4.2 was at 9:32, and we also had several other small foreshocks along with it. Again, a relatively common pattern in the Fontana trend to see a cluster, with the first one not necessarily the biggest, so pretty much what we expect from the region, and our first magnitude 4 in quite a few months here in Southern California. And I see 130 magnitude 3s over the last 35 years. So clearly it's a place that, has several magnitude 3s every year. On average, they come in clusters. When I look back, for instance, just looking at this very close to this location, 2014, there was a magnitude 4.4, and it was, and it had one magnitude 3.2 after it. And a 4.2 in 2024, again, close to this location, a little bit to the farther east. It was, it seems to be by itself, but several of these come in with significant clusters. Often it's just 3s, and looks like that the magnitude 4 level, we've had about a dozen over the last 30 years. So as you can see, this is then a very active region. It's very, I'll just go and say it's normal.
All right, so we've been hearing about the clusters of the quakes in this area. And joining us now is Rialto Police Department's Lieutenant Dan Smith. Lieutenant, thanks so much for joining us. We know that these are relatively small in the big picture, but are you hearing about any type of damage or any type of injuries so far?
So we've actually been very fortunate here at Rialto Police Department in the city of Rialto. After the first quake and the subsequent 2 that followed, our personnel was a little shook, but we were able to reach out to all of our city officials, our city buildings, worked with Rialto Fire Department, and at this time, we're thankful to say that there has been no calls for service generated, any damage to property or injuries to persons as a result of these quakes.
Yeah, that's good to hear. We were listening to Dr. Lucy Jones a little bit about what was going on, saying it's been several months since the last time we had a magnitude 4 in this area, but this is completely normal. From your point of view, what did it feel like to you? Did you see a lot of action?
So being inside the building during the time of the larger magnitude quake that we had, it was pretty significant in our building. That is our current station, which is over 50 years old. Our employees were following the proper protocols. We were thankful for that. There was no damage to our building, as I previously mentioned. And I think most notably, it was actually a great test as we're building our brand new state-of-the-art police facility just north of us. And compliments to their crew and the superintendent. It was a heck of a test run to show how great of a job they're doing for our new station.
And Lieutenant, I know a lot of times, people panic and they start to call 911. Have you all been getting calls just from people being concerned after feeling maybe a couple of earthquakes?
Actually, in speaking to our communications center, no one has called 911 with any concerns related to the quakes.
which is
That's
great
great.
news.
It's great to hear. Yeah. So, you talked about how you guys responded. There was no damage. That's good to hear. But you felt it because, even at a 4.3, if that's where it's at, you're going to feel what that's like. Talking about what's next for your department, obviously, there could be aftershock probabilities. Where do you guys go from here? How do you guys determine how you prepare for the next step in case of an aftershock or a larger one?
So we've broken down to internally with our personnel that we have assigned, and we've discussed with each one of the different bureaus or entities of our agency proper evacuation plans, the safest route to ensure that they're safe so we can still provide the service to our community. And secondly, with our external partners, our Rialto Fire Department, Public Works bureaus, we've contacted them, have been working with developing or discussing plans in case we have an aftershock that does cause damage or injury to persons in our community. So we're still functioning. We're used to emergency management planning and working collaboratively with them. We have a great relationship with everyone in the city, which allows us to give the best service to our community that they expect, and we uphold to them.
Which is great because we often don't know if these are foreshocks or if what we're feeling already are the aftershocks. So it's so important to be prepared and be ready. And certainly people tune in for information, and they're also looking to the authorities like yourself to make sure that they're all prepared. And we know that you have things in place and you're moving to the next facility soon. This is also a good time to remind people to be prepared and to have those kits, because we do know that if there is a big earthquake, and maybe I should say when, not if, that they have the necessary supplies as far as water and food and cash and even a special person to contact. And do you all, I know that you're prepared to help others, but you also have all your necessary supplies and things ready to go should you all get, hit in an earthquake like this. But, obviously you're going to be out on the road, but I'm hoping in your cars, do you have something?
We do. We have a variety of safety supplies, the same that we would encourage our community to have to be safe during these. An evacuation bag with some extra clothing, food. We have an ample supply of excess water bottles to provide both to our officers or personnel working along with community members as we work to provide the service to them to make sure that they can get through this potential, incident that would happen following an aftershock.
All right. Well, Lieutenant, thank you so much for giving us some insight of what's going on there. I'm glad you're safe and everyone in that area is safe as well. Continue doing great work, and we'll check back in with you. But thanks for your time this morning.
I appreciate you guys and have a great morning.
Appreciate you. Stay safe out there. All right, let's go back to meteorologist Amber Lee. Amber, tell us a little bit about what you're learning with this earthquake. I know we heard from Dr. Lucy Jones, but you got some more information?
Yeah, so we heard from Dr. Lucy Jones that we're seeing the clusters of these earthquakes in a fault line that she typically says has the clusters when they do strike, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. So I just want to reiterate and show you again where we felt it. And not only that, some of our coworkers that were sitting right outside in their cars said they felt it and they thought that somebody was shaking their car. So we definitely felt it here in Studio City. I saw the lights inside the studio move a little bit, but I didn't really feel the ground shaking. But another one of our coworkers that was actually in the weather sphere, I was sitting right outside of it, they said they did hear some of the lights moving around. So yeah, it all depends on where you are here in Southern California. You may not have felt it. And then we did get reports also people as far south as the South Bay felt it as well. So here's a quick look at what's happening. We did see a cluster of these earthquakes within the last few hours. So what you're seeing on the board right now, the two red dots, those are the latest earthquakes that we felt. And then the other ones that you're seeing in yellow, those are the ones that we felt a few hours ago. So the largest one took place at about 9:32. And this is the one I think everybody felt here in Studio City in our studio as well. So this one happened at 9:32, and that was a 4.3. At first, they thought it was a 4.4. They've kind of downgraded it just a little bit. That was 3 miles down into the ground in depth. And then you could see that a few minutes later, that next one, and this is the latest one. We haven't really felt anything since this one, 9:36, and that one happened at about 4 miles into the ground. Now, I just want to squash the myth, because I know anytime we feel an earthquake, people wonder, do we have earthquake weather? There's no such thing, because when I forecast, I'm forecasting the sky, not in the ground. Two totally different things. But this one happened at 9:36, and this one was at about 3.1. And then the other two happened around 8:30-ish this morning. But I do want to reiterate, because if you lived here in Southern California, like I have all my life, you know that in schools, not only do we talk about fire drills, but we have earthquake drills as well. So just in case, and you need a reminder, it's been a while, we do the drop, cover, and hold. And then this is what students are learning too in school as well. So what happens is you are supposed to get onto the ground when you're indoors, get under a sturdy desk or table, and then you hold and cover your head until the shaking stops. Now, if you're outside, you obviously want to move away from the buildings, the trees, the power lines, and then you just want to do the same thing. Drop, cover, and hold until the shaking stops. So this, again, good reminder. And as Amy was talking about, we should also have a to-go bag as well during these type of emergencies. So just have enough food and water and clothing for at least 3 days, they say. All right, so I'm going to show you really quick. I'm just going to go over the timeline again of when we saw these earthquakes. So let's get to that graphic. You can see that we started off at 8:34 this morning. We saw that 3.0, or felt the 3.0. Then about half hour or later, or a few minutes later, that is, we saw another one, which was a little smaller, 2.8. That was at 8:42. And then less than an hour later, we felt the bigger one, around 4.4, 4.3. And then a few minutes later, that 3.1. All right, back to you guys.
All right, Amber, thank you. It is interesting to see that graphic, to see how many there were. And again, Dr. Lucy Jones saying that over the last 30 years, there have been about 130 of these cluster quakes in this area. Of course, we are going to stay on top of this for you throughout the morning.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Now you can get your KCAL news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.